Hey y'all, welcome back to Clumsy Dog. It is a beautiful, beautiful fall spring day here in Arkansas. I'm pretty sure that it's gonna cool back down, but today it's in the 60s and we're just outside enjoying the weather, soaking up the sun. It's partly cloudy, but the sun, there's enough sun for it to feel really nice. So I think a couple of weeks ago, we promised you guys something exciting here on the homestead, and I think we're finally ready to tell you what it is. First of all though, I want to give you some backstory on where we got our name, Clumsy Dog Acres, and our logo, who Barney is, and why he's so special to us. So grab yourself a cup of coffee and come along, I'll tell you a story. So I think we've referred to Barney before as a livestock guardian dog. And I know we've posted some shorts of him, and there's always somebody that says, oh, that's not a livestock guardian dog, that's a lab. The truth is, he is a livestock guardian dog. He's a combination of 3 different breeds: Akbash, Great Pyrenees, and Anatolian Shepherd. So Barney got the best of all 3 of these breeds. He is a gentle giant. He weighs about 160 pounds. So I think some of our shorts maybe don't do him justice, but he's huge. Everybody that comes over here is like, that's the biggest dog I've ever seen. He's so loyal. And while livestock guardian dogs are normally guarding like sheep and goats, you know, the normal livestock that you think of, they can also be used to guard chickens. And for us, we like having him around because he considers the children his flock. So like right now, the kids are out playing at the playhouse and Barney is just sitting out there with them. He's just watching them. He sits back, he watches, he makes sure that nothing bad is in the area. He barks a lot. That's kind of his deterrent method. These kind of dogs would rather bark than attack, but they will absolutely defend themselves and their flock if something like a coyote, wild dog, bad person even comes up in the yard.
There's a funny story I like to tell. Sam was working our beehives and he pushes her out of the way and isn't letting her over into an area, and is kind of taking her off a little bit. And then she sees a coiled up snake over there that he's keeping her away from. Now it was just a garden snake, but they don't know how to identify. He just knows snake, Sam, protect, keep away from, because he puts himself between him and her and just with his mass shoves her out of the way. Then of course she comes and gets me, and as soon as I show up, he stays with her and he's like, yeah, Dad, right there. He's like, I'm giving you, it's like the chain of command goes like this. He had no problem with me relocating the snake to the woods, helping it to get out of our yard, but he didn't want Sam anywhere close to it.
So we really like this combination of breeds because I think probably the Great Pyrenees are the gentlest of all 3, but they have the big furry fuzzy coat. I'm sure you've seen them. They look like polar bears. So Barney has more of the more of the Anatolian genetics, I think, shine through on him. So he's kind of short-haired, which is really nice because grooming is not a problem. And they're fairly clean dogs, so they get a little smelly sometimes if they find something to roll in, but overall, like, he doesn't need to be brushed constantly. A couple times a year, especially when he's shedding, we will go in, we'll do deep brushing, give him good shed baths and all of that kind of stuff. But overall, he's super easy to take care of. He does have a double dew claw. That's part of his Great Pyrenees lineage. I think Anatolians can sometimes have it and sometimes don't, but he does have the double dew claw, which we keep trimmed as much as we can. Anatolians, and this I think is where some of the confusion is about what breed he is, Anatolians often have a dark face, and he seems to have more of the Akbash and Great Pyrenees shining through when it comes to his coloring, because he's pretty light overall. Like, his belly is light, his legs are white, but he is, I promise you, Anatolian, Akbash, and Great Pyrenees. So because of his size, Barney is not particularly graceful when he runs, and that's actually how we got our name, Clumsy Dog Acres, because when he was a puppy, especially when he was in that kind of teenage phase where his legs, he was not quite used to his super long legs yet, he would just glump through the yard, and it was hilarious, so funny. So that is why we are Clumsy Dog Acres. We used his face as our logo because we love him so much. He's just the best dog ever. These dogs tend to work a little better in pairs, so we've been looking for a while for a good partner for Barney, because we wanted to make sure that the partner that we get for him has the same characteristics. We want them to be, ideally, we want them to be that same mix of Anatolian, Akbash, and Great Pyrenees. We want a dog that will be big. Now, we wanted a female because they do tend to work, from what I understand from my research, they tend to work a little better if you have a male-female pair. Y'all, God answers prayers. I happened to look in the paper a couple of weeks ago, and lo and behold, the same farmer that we got Barney from happened to have another litter of puppies. It's really, really cool because this litter of puppies, Barney's brother is actually the dad of these puppies. So we were able to get in touch with them. We took a long car ride, took a trip. He's several hours away. So we drove up there a weekend or so ago, and we came back with the prettiest little girl pup who is just almost exactly like him. She looks just like him. And she's his niece, so we know that she has a kind of a proven bloodline, I guess. I don't really want to call it a bloodline because these dogs are not purebred. They're absolutely working dogs. Barney was born, I believe the farmer told us he was born in the hay barn. When we got there to pick him up, everybody was like, yeah, you can't meet his mom because she's out with her sheep. They're giving, or her goat's giving birth or something like that, if I remember the story correctly. But this puppy was born in the sheep pen. So we know that she's going to be a good working dog. We know she comes from working stock. And Jake kind of has a formula he uses to pick dogs out, and he used the same method for picking out Barney.
So, I'm not an expert by any means, but some stuff I'd look for in picking out a livestock guardian dog that's going to be dual purpose livestock and child guardian is they're interested but not too interested, and some other good signs if you can. So when we first put her in the car, she was crying and crying and crying. She very rapidly trusts us. She's actually laying down, and the only thing that was scaring her for the last little bit was the bumps in the road. But since then, she's kind of just with it. She's not fixating on a fear. She's able to move past the fear. And when we were there looking at all the puppies, the first couple dogs will just bowl you over, just jumping all over you, stuff like that. And that's a very excitable dog. Then you have the ones that are in the back just quivering in the corner, and just like, that's a scared dog, and that's not, you need something in between.
So the kind of training that we like to give our working dogs here is we just want to teach them the basics. We want to teach them to sit, we want to teach them to stay. They need to come. Now, these dogs are so independent that I won't say they're hard-headed, but they do tend to do things on their own time frame. So when I say Goldie come, she'll come, but she comes at her own pace, and Barney is the same way. And she's picking things up really, really quickly, so that's good. She's a smart little thing. We're also going to teach her to leave it. That's going to be important as she gets bigger, and we need to start teaching her to stay away from the chickens. If she goes after a chicken, we're going to need to be able to tell her, leave it, so that she will leave it alone. Now, these dogs have a very low prey drive. Like, it's even hard almost to get them to play fetch. We had to teach her to play fetch because they don't really have a prey drive. So this is Goldie. She's our new helper here around the farm. She's sleepy. I woke her up from a nap. She's been running around after the kids. She's not super excited that she has to be awake. She weighs a little over 30 pounds now, 32, 33 pounds. And I can definitely feel it. She is not a light puppy at all. She is getting along with Barney super well. The first day we brought her home, even they just took to each other right away. So we have really high hopes. And she seems to be watching him and kind of learning from him. You do, don't you? You do, go puppy. As always, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, subscribe so you can follow along with Goldie's life and her training and see how she does out here on the homestead. And hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching.